ladies and gentlemen, it's Wednesday. It's Modern Investing on Pod TV. So it's Wednesday. Usually it's green. Usually, not always. And Jim, how is your screen? What it shows? Jim Eat from Eat Foundation.
Well,
Welcome.
Sasha, all red.
All right. And Milan Sombrok, Dr. Milan Sombrok, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Cola. Coca-Cola is green.
Ah,
That is Warren Buffett's largest holding, Coca-Cola, with a large,
For the last 700 years, as I understand.
at least, and it has what he calls a large moat, meaning that very few can compete with it successfully.
Yeah, except Pepsi maybe. But
maybe.
yeah, Coca-Cola is a giant, and I think I should sell all my holdings and get Coca-Cola.
Why? Why would you do that?
I
I
don't
don't,
think you're serious.
not today, but we'll see. Coca-Cola. Never thought about buying Coca-Cola for some reason. I buy Coca-Cola sometimes to drink, but not as a
Yeah,
stock holding.
Yeah.
but you're not just buying the soda when you're buying something like Coca-Cola. It's manifested in so many areas. So, and that's one of the things that sometimes you think of a brand and related to a product, and they're expanded so far beyond the product that you really are buying much more than you are just the soda when you're
Mayor
talking.
Bloomberg, New York former Mayor Bloomberg, is the sort of a person they could get the United States president on the phone if he wanted to. He wanted to decrease the size of Coca-Cola bottles, not eliminate them altogether, but decrease the size, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's shrinkage. Yeah, that's actually one of the ways that we can tell that things when you are paying the same thing for and getting less. Um,
That's a lot.
you know,
That's a lot.
right.
Yeah.
And that happens to be one way that companies are dealing with the rise of their expenses, is offering the same product in the same packaging or similar packaging, but with
Yeah.
less content, and the
Yeah.
price hasn't changed, so people don't notice as much as when the prices go up.
Well, yeah, people think they're getting the same as they always used to, but they're not. They're getting less. Yeah.
Okay, Coca-Cola is a great company. Oh, by the way, Milan, how's S&P 500 doing?
I'm not sure what he's doing today, but that's all I have primarily in
It's
addition
red.
to. Yeah, it's red today. It's supposed to be green, is it not, on a Wednesday?
I know,
But not,
but
not every Wednesday. Yeah. So I mainly hold SPY, that's the S&P 500, an exchange traded fund that tracks the S&P 500. There are about half a dozen of them, but SPY happens to be the best because it has the narrowest bid-ask spread. The bid-ask spread is a cost to investors, which many investors are not aware of, but with SPY is the narrowest that there is. So that's a good way to hold the American economy as a whole.
and over the
Holding,
last 3 months it's gone up 6%, and over the last 6 months it's gone up 26%. So the daily ups and downs we can't react to as much as the trends that are uh, they'll tell a better picture of what's really going on with the S&P. And but things can't go up forever, so we're going to have days like today where we're just looking at a lot of red, but you can't
well,
panic. And
uh,
so
when J.P. Morgan was asked in the late 19th century what the stock market will do, what the markets will do, he said they will fluctuate. But he really could have said they will fluctuate on their way up as they continue to rise.
yeah,
So we've had serious market drops like in 1929 and more recently a couple of times. But the markets has always recovered. Ever since the stock market was founded in Amsterdam about 400 years ago, it has always continued to rise even after the most serious drops there were. So being in the stock market is really a good place to be for five reasons. One is the returns can be really wonderful. Two is the always quoted prices. You can always see what the price of anything is. Three is the low transaction cost. The transaction costs are so low that you can almost ignore them. Whether you buy and sell $1,000 worth of securities, cost under $10. If you buy and sell $1,000,000 worth of securities, it also costs under $10. And with some brokerages, it costs nothing. So the low transaction costs are wonderful. And then we have absolute liquidity. My wife and I have been trying to sell an income property that we have, which we never should have had, but we've been trying to sell it for 8 months now. It's not going anywhere. So that's quite the house that we live in now, the condo we live in now, was for sale for 3 years before we bought it. So that, and then finally, the record keeping is wonderful. That you get that record keeping from your stockbroker.
That's true.
Good enough to satisfy the taxman. Yeah.
That's great.
So those are the reasons I think that everybody should be in the stock market. And everybody actually is, even without knowing it, because if they receive some kind of government pension, it's in the stock market to a large extent. Yeah.
Very interesting. I'm looking at SPY right now. It's around, what is the last price? 666 and change. It's down 0.68%.
Yeah.
Sure. So actually, it's not bad buy maybe right now. What do you think?
We always buy it when it drops because we follow Svensson's recommendation to have an asset allocation of, say, 50-50, 50% in cash, 50% in SPY. And it can be 60-40, that also works, and 55-45, that also works. But anything similar to that, in which a large percentage is in cash, works very well. Now, Wall Street will do everything possible to discourage that because they don't make any money on the money that we have in cash. So they try to discourage that. But if we are holding a 50-50 asset allocation, every time the market goes up and that allocation is disturbed, we sell, we take profits to bring it back to 50-50 or 60-40 or whatever we have. Anytime the market drops and we have more cash than we have securities, we use that cash to buy bargains. So we are always taking profits, always buying bargains, and we don't care which direction the market goes in. So that's it. Now, if on top of that, we always sell puts and calls, we can get significant additional income if we know what we're doing. So there it is.
Well, Jim, what do you think about it?
Well, in my fund portfolio, I have 75% of it invested in the AI sector and semiconductors that manufacture chips that support AI, because I think we're still on the cusp of a burgeoning AI revolution. There's going to be some real downsides of that, and I don't want to minimize those. But as an investor, this is where the action is, and I think for the foreseeable future, where it will continue to be. So, although I think that Milan's what he's saying is good for the average investor who doesn't really want to be in the market, it's a very safe way to guarantee not guarantee, but to maximize your chances of getting a solid return. And in my fund portfolio, I'm looking for more than that. And, I'm very concentrated in that particular sector. And the rest of it, the 25% that's not invested in it, it doesn't matter. I mean, the 75% stocks have been going up so high, so quickly that if the other 25% tanked, it wouldn't matter to me. I would still be making a lot of money from that particular sector. And I think that has not run its course. People talk about bubbles. I don't think that it's near bursting. I think the expansion And one of the downsides is that everybody is expanding now. So data centers are being built everywhere. And that's the incredible power needs to support those data centers. And there's also water needs because these centers have to have cooling systems so that the machines do not overheat, which is very dangerous for them. So, the need for more data centers means more power and more water. So I think at some point there's going to be some reckoning that we have to face beyond the talks about the AI, what it's going to become and what it's going to do to our economy. Just the fact that, and they're branching out into other countries because they're finding cheaper land, that sort of thing. But the water supply is still going to be an issue no matter where you are, no matter where you build these data centers. But I think that day of reckoning is off in the future. It's not. It's
not everybody agrees with you, James. Not everybody agrees with you because when you're buying any security, you're buying it from someone who is selling it. In other words,
Absolutely correct.
has
It's
exact
so-
opposite.
Thank goodness somebody is selling it to me.
What, Sasha?
This is a great observation. I indeed think about it that of billions of dollars worth of trading today, it's some people are buying or selling stocks from other or to other people. There is no any other way. If you
Of course.
would like to avoid that, it means you have to get out of the market and go into something else. Maybe buy violins. But even if you buy a violin, you can buy you buy it from somebody else, right? So what that Milan in fact tells us, the proposition, which is absolutely correct, that when you're buying stock, you're buying it from somebody else. How to mitigate it and what to do with that and how important this is for investors.
Well, what I do is when I get I get a target price that I hit, and I sell. And so someone's buying it, and they might be right that it will continue to go up, but I've already hit my target. So I'm happy, they're happy if it continues to go up. And if it goes back down, I'll buy it again.
Yeah, one of the Rothschilds said, "I made my money by selling too soon." So that's what you're doing. But talking about violins, Sasha, they're a tool for professional violinists, and then almost always they wind up selling them for more than they paid for them. Tools decline in value. Ask any carpenter, ask any dentist, ask any plumber. What happens to your tools? They decline in value. But violins happen to be going up constantly if they're right kind of violin, a Cremona-made violin by some Italian master.
Milan, there is no difference between violin and stocks. You're buying violin when you're young from somebody else, and when you becoming 95 years old and you're selling that violin, you're also selling it to somebody else. The same with Buffett when he bought Coca-Cola. He bought Coca-Cola from somebody else. And when he will or his estate in 500 years from now will sell Coca-Cola, they will sell it to somebody else. So Milan explained to me what is the significance of this series that when you're buying stock, you're buying it from somebody else. There is no other way to buy stock like from somebody else. It's impossible.
The interesting thing about violins is that they're a tool, as I mentioned before, that professionals use, and it winds up, if it's the correct tool, winds up being worth more than they paid for it. Tools decline in value. By the way, when it comes to violins, they come from a wood that is grown somewhere in Italy, I'm not sure where, and there was a tornado, hurricane, something recently that destroyed much of that forest that's been called the music forest. So that wood is now almost unavailable for making violins. So the modern violin maker, well, he can equal Stradivarius in the measurements. He cannot get the wood that Stradivarius had available.
That's called disaster buying. And when something happens and something is now scarce, that resource is more valuable, regardless of whether it's violins or water or anything, And this can be seen as an opportunity, and you might feel a little queasy about profiting off of someone else's suffering, but the fact of the matter is that resources are finite; they're not infinite, and so when there's a shortage, the price goes up. And so when you predict a shortage, not in the case of natural disasters, of course not, but sometimes you can in terms of, for example, the AI sector, that there weren't that many chips that were available to support it. So who are the companies that were going to make those chips? Those companies were going to be profitable. And that's why I started to invest in that sector, invest in those companies. And the ones that are generating revenue are continuing to generate revenue. They're reporting earnings, and they always report good earnings. But as Sasha has pointed out in the past, sometimes there's a whisper, what is the price that the earnings should be in order to make us happy? And sometimes they can report record earnings, and the stock market will still punish you because it wasn't good enough. So sometimes, but you have to just shrug off those little hiccups.
It's interesting that you mentioned water, James. We cannot make water and we cannot destroy water, but we can certainly mismanage water. The country with the most water per capita is Brazil because of the Amazon River. And then the second most water per capita, or altogether rather, is Russia because of Lake Baikal. The third is the United States. And Canada is behind the United States, except the United States is mismanaging a great deal of its water. So,
speaking about water, I was thinking about something when latest Putin's proposal to Trump was to make a tunnel from Alaska to Chukotka. It's a great project, I would say, except that they forgot to finish it from Chukotka to drill tunnel to Lake Baikal. So U.S. would get access to incredible body of fresh water. That would make some sense. It will take 25 years to build and trillions of dollars and
money.
So on. And actually, there is a technical risk because the only thing what Elon Musk built was slightly over 3 kilometers tunnel between Las Vegas Casino and Trade Center. There are several people died by building this, and I can't imagine how Elon Musk would do in 70 kilometers tunnel under the ocean between Alaska and Chukotka. There's something. Now, speaking about Alaska, we more or less know what it is. Now, Chukotka is a place where there's average temperature is about minus 50 Celsius. And it's a place where there's a lot of nothing. There is no infrastructure. There is no people. There's very few animals because of the temperature. So when either Putin thinks that Trump is complete idiot, he is, but not complete, because if that's a calculation, then it's a great project to offer to Trump, and he was listening to that. Can you imagine this? Mm-hmm. They are discussing it, and I don't know if they. I think the visibility study will cost probably 10-20 billion dollars because how you can do it. Jim, have you done ever visibility study?
No, but I have done those types of studies, but nothing like that. And I was thinking of the English Channel, that goes under the channel between England and France. And you used to have to go, if you went to London and then wanted to go to Paris, you used to have to fly. And now you can drive, and it's so much easier. It's really a great deal.
Probably even faster if you think about
all the way around. Yeah. So there is a place for this, and Norway also has a lot of tunnels and things, and it's something that we have the engineering, we have the capability, but as Milan mentioned earlier, they can be mismanaged. So you have to manage it properly and do it in a way that's sustainable. And these types of things are great projects. But the point I wanted to make when you're talking about Putin and Trump, the market reacts to these types of things. The Putin and Trump talks are on, then they're off. Is he going to talk to the president of China or not? And the market takes that into account, and it gets a little jittery. Markets do not like uncertainty. And what we have with Trump as our president is a lot of uncertainty. We're not sure what he's going to do next. And so the market reflects that. But again, when I'm concentrating on a particular sector, I don't see those types of market jitters affecting that sector in at least in any way that I can see. I still think that sector is continuing to grow. I can't see the monkey wrench that he would throw into that, but he surprised me before. So
the tunnel between under the English Channel also has a train running through it, and
Yes.
my wife and I have taken it, and they have wonderful meals there on that train. I'd recommend that too.
Yeah, that's a great option.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember we were driving on a wonderful bridge between Copenhagen and Malmö in Sweden. So it's a beautiful bridge, and it was several years ago, by the way. And it shortens time considerably. You don't have to take a ferry. And just get your car and just drive and follow farther.
That's another thing that's been mismanaged in the United States is bridges. The bridges are dilapidated and falling apart. We've had some catastrophic bridge failures. So the infrastructure we have to pay attention to that as well. And when we're trying to decide what to spend money on, infrastructure has kind of been getting the stick for a while.
The large national debt in America's national debt is making it impossible to maintain infrastructure and to provide education at low cost and that kind of stuff. Yeah, that is unsustainable. That debt that the United States has, and so America is Canada's biggest trading partner, and I think vice versa too. So that anything that's happening that's negative in the American economy will affect us in Canada in a negative way too.
Yeah, and also one of the ways that Trump is figuring out these different ways, like tariffs that will put money into the federal government. It's short-sighted. The other one that's short-sighted that he's doing is he's levying these enormous taxes on foreign students who are coming into the United States, or companies that are trying to hire these people. So these people are coming in on a particular type of visa, and this visa he wants to put a big tax on, so that the companies have to pay not only the person's salary to come work here, but also this tax. So it just goes straight to the federal government. But companies are saying, well, no. So what we're going to experience is a brain drain. The best and the brightest from other countries who would come here and work here and do great jobs for us are now not coming because of the excessive tax that's Trump has placed on these visas. So this is short-sighted. He thinks it's a quick way to make a lot of money for the federal government and bring down the debt. But it turns out that people aren't doing it, and the cost. He hasn't done the cost-benefit analysis because the benefits outweigh the cost. And so it's the closing of the doors to the other people that would come in here and help this country build infrastructure, plan the future of how to employ artificial intelligence than most use. They're now going to stay in China, for example.
North America was Canada and the United States were built by immigrants who left their countries for various reasons, often for religious reasons or for economic reasons, and came here, didn't speak the language, didn't understand the food and so on, but they came here anyway and prospered. And so North America was built by immigrants, which was something that Trump wants to now put an end to.
And Trump is also interfering with the Federal Reserve, which was one of the last beacons of independence in the country. They're supposed to set monetary policy. He's trying to fire some and hire others. that are more consistent with his way of thinking. And is he going to be able to influence the Fed to lower interest rates, whether or not it's good for the country? Who knows?
But
These
I'm
are,
wondering, with shutdown now, how
Oh.
the Fed will base their decision when there is no data in the last couple of weeks, at least.
absolutely right.
I don't understand the mechanism. Okay, so they're going to say something next week, but what they're going to say based on what?
Right. Yeah,
Who is
there's ways of piecing the data together, but it's not the official data.
I will
And
not understand.
Who is-
and it's definitely and Trump doesn't want to talk to the Democrats. He thinks he has them in a position that they have to come to him, which is the way he thought of other countries will have to come if he slaps a tariff on them. They'll have to come begging to Mar-a-Lago, and that doesn't happen, and it hasn't happened. So I'm not sure how long this is going to go on.
The test of his foreign policy will be evident on this, his upcoming meeting with Emperor Xi, which may or may not happen, by the way.
Right.
And what Trump is going to do, Trump is based his decision on some feelings and some instincts and some other, where China has a very well thought out policy that they keep together and they're moving like a train. And how Trump is going to even negotiate it? I would send somebody else, maybe Rubio, maybe somebody else who is more knowledgeable, more experienced, and Rubio, for example, he would be taken much more serious by Xi rather than Trump, because Trump, I think they're all laughing at him at the end of the day.
Well, they know he's all bark and no bite. So they don't take his threats seriously.
So one day he said that, okay, he's going to put additional 100% tariffs. The next day he says, no, it's nobody can have this 100% tariff. I'm trying to help China. I'm not trying to hurt China. I'm trying to help.
Yes.
Whichever China asks US to help it, I don't remember that happened ever.
China has a lot to teach us. They've given us the compass and gunpowder and paper and who knows what else. But today they have a lot to teach us. If you take a look at any Chinese airport today, it makes Toronto's international airport look like a village airport. They have high-speed trains, maglev trains, magnetic levitation trains that go at the speed of an airplane. They have a lot to teach us. And the 21st century probably belongs to China. Empires have a 100% failure rate, as I keep mentioning, and the failure of the American empire is going to happen one of these days, and China will likely succeed, and we have a lot to learn from China.
And one of their excellent approaches is to batteries, and energy storage is one of the things that's going to drive this century, and they're way ahead of us there.
Hey, Sasha and Jim, I was just wondering, has Trump become like the boy who cried wolf and everything like that? Because you were talking about the government's not listening, and that's kind of what that fairy tale was about, because he kept crying wolf, and then when the real wolf came, there was nobody there to defend him and everything, as I remember that fairy tale, Jim, and everything like that. So has he become very much like the boy from who cried wolf?
Well, the thing is he's kind of acting like he's the wolf.
Right.
And everyone's going, got no teeth.
I read today a very interesting article in Fortune magazine about Jensen from NVIDIA. He said that until recently, NVIDIA had 95% of the chips business in China. Today they have 0. So what Trump did with his tariff policy, he elbows NVIDIA from the Chinese market. We allow Chinese to develop similar chips, for example, that replacing NVIDIA. So their new infrastructure is being built on Chinese chips, not NVIDIA's. How US will benefit from it?
The Chinese are building an electric car, which is, as far as luxury is concerned, every bit the equal of a Tesla, and they're building it for half the price. And people who are creating a product or a service at the lower cost should be the ones who get the advantage instead of blocking them through tariffs. Yeah, the consumer would benefit from that.
Actually, Milan, are you aware that the Canadian government is very close to remove all these taxes and the fees from Chinese electric vehicles in exchange that Chinese will keep buying Canadian canola oil products? Are you aware of that? That may happen?
I wasn't aware of that, but wouldn't that be wonderful for both the Chinese and the Canadians too? Minimal government interference.
Republicans used to be in favor of free trade, and it's the world is sometimes turns counterclockwise and upside down, and it's one of those things that's hard to explain how one person with it without logic but emotional based kind of can influence things as dramatically as one person has in the United States case, and yet people will vote for him again if he tries to run for a third term. And
He will. Absolutely.
there are a number of people who are just convinced that he's the best thing that's ever happened to the country. The economic data is clear. He's a buffoon when it comes to economics.
Legally, he's not supposed to run for a third term. Legally, an American president can run
It's unconstitutional. When has that stopped him?
Yeah.
Well, people are voting with their emotions. They don't analyze his track record on international policies, on domestic policies. His
business track record.
Nothing. They don't look into it. Maybe they don't understand, or they're not interested. The Democrats are keeping quiet. They're not criticizing him the way they should. But okay, maybe they're biding their time, trying to start it closer to midterm elections. Maybe that's the case. But there are a lot of independents who can evaluate for themselves what's really
Have the
happening.
Americans ever previously elect a convicted criminal to be a president?
No.
This is the first time.
Never happened. Never happened. Usually, convicted criminals are not running for the office. You see, in the United States, in not too distant past, they have rooms of distinguished party members, whether it's Republicans or Democratic people, and they were choosing who is the right candidate and who should be considered for election. But it's all changed with this populist so-called primaries, where people with a very little understanding of business or politics or anything, and they are what I like him. He's a good guy. Let's elect him. And you got what you got. And you wanted to elect a convicted criminal. You got it. Enjoy.
And the other thing is, people had to resign if they were faced with scandals in the past, and that's something that people are shrugging off now. It's amazing to me that this is what it's come to, but it's true. This is what people seem to want, and we get the government we deserve. So, this is the kind of thing that I couldn't believe that he was reelected, but that was on me. I just didn't understand how much of the country believes the things that he tells them. Of course, he will change what he says from day to day, but as he would do with China or with Putin, ceasefires. We're going to make him do a ceasefire in Ukraine, and then he said, "Oh, ceasefires never work." So who knows what he's going to say tomorrow? But the idea is that people think he tells it like it is, which is nothing. Nothing could be further from the truth. But that's what they believe, and the facts don't seem to matter anymore.
Also, don't forget that he is incapable to think through any process, whatever he's trying to do. Even
the attention span.
Let's take a peace, so-called peace in Israel, in Gaza. what happened there? There was a incredible meeting of 20 so-called world leaders signing some kind of document which doesn't even spell who is responsible for what, who is moving. Okay, so you have to release hostages. Okay, it's fine, great, that happened, and that's about it. Nothing will happen at all after that. So is that a peace? That's not a peace. It's only beginning of the peace, because after that, Hamas has to disarm. The countries like Qatar and United Emirates and others, they have to move in and start administrating. And so now these countries say, how can we move in? There is a Hamas. They have weapons. What do you want to send us? They will kill all of us? No. So who is going to disarm Hamas? Trump? Absolutely not. It's Israeli army who will disarm.
Didn't Kennedy say, think not of what your country can do for you, but rather think of what you can do for your country?
Yes.
That's a concept that's totally strange to Trump.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, so far he's damaging now investment climate in the United States.
That's true.
Stocks are now in retreat. We don't know whether it's going to be 10-20% downturn, which is very possible. If you're looking at some of the AI stocks and quantum computing stocks, darlings of the last few weeks, they're all flying down, and there's absolutely no stop to it. You can almost any day, even before you get your coffee, short any of these stocks. Just at the market, 931 short, 400, 500 shares, whatever you buy, it doesn't matter. So this stock will fall 4%, and another one 4.2%. But they will fall. Just keep making money. And that's what I'm doing lately. I did several transactions on AppLovin stock, the QBTS. It's quantum computing stock. And several others. It doesn't matter. Just get up to your computer, sell short, drink your coffee. That's really what you have to do these days. And I believe it may continue on for next, probably until the end of the month. And then maybe in November, market will start to move on. But
I increased my cash allocation moderately. I'm not saying a lot in terms of my overall portfolio in August because I just thought these are going to be choppy months, and I think probably I'll start buying again in December. We'll see, maybe January.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. I think about mid-January would be a good time to get in.
Mid-January, yeah.
Earnings season and so on. So
there's always that, and the stock market has definitely been responding to earnings.
Yeah. Right now also is earnings seasons, but there is no joy in this earnings. Look at the banks, look at the Netflix, look at many others. We'll see.
And even positive revenue can be not good enough. Expectations were higher.
A trend is more likely to continue than it is to reverse itself. But trend reversal is one of the few absolute certainties of the market. So the market is unreasonably overpriced now, and it continues to go up. That gets continue, and it'll reverse itself. And the people who have our asset allocation that we recommend 50-50, they'll be buying bargains. Right now, we're taking profits. Yeah.
But are the bargains already there, or you would recommend to wait for bargains, maybe in a week or 2 weeks, or maybe months?
Always maintain your asset allocation, whatever it is. It should be 50-50 roughly. It could be 60-40 also, and 45-55. Any of those where you have a large percentage of cash. That's always useful, and you will always be buying bargains and always be taking profits.
It's a great approach, Milan, but when you're buying, someone's selling, and when you're selling, someone's buying. So not everybody agrees with you.
Yeah.
But your approach is a very solid one, and I think it.
And also, what we recommend here, it takes no effort at all. When you're selecting stocks the way both of you are doing, you may be stars, but most people don't equal the market. Most people in the stock market are losers. And that doesn't have to be that way because
You remember the phenomena of day trading? Everybody was a day trader. I can still remember those days.
Yeah, day traders lose all the time. There's studies that show that
Yeah.
to a remarkable
Well,
extent.
I'll tell you that lately I'm more and more a day trader than anything else. I accept few stocks like Nvidia or NVDY. I'm scared to hold stock overnight. I'm really scared because Trump can say something that market will tank, 1,000 points on Dow and all other indexes and so on. And I'm scared. If you sell in the morning short almost anything, including SPY, by the way, and then you buy it an hour later, 2 hours later. Actually, the profits are almost unlimited. Unlimited is just how quickly you want to close your transaction. Let's see if you sell, say, AMD. Okay, it fell 10 points. Okay, you can close transaction. You okay? So you're making a couple $1,000. But then, if you hold it longer, you will make even more money. But you think, okay, so I got for a day $1,000 or $1,200. What's wrong with that? Why wouldn't they close? Okay, so you press the button, you close transaction. You're out. You made your $1,200. But the stock continues to go down, and you're missing all this. Instead of making $2,000-$3,000, you made $1,200. So, but that's the nature of the beast, unfortunately.
And when we think that the stock market is overpriced, I can remember in the 1990s thinking if the NASDAQ hit 5,000, my financial worries would be okay. I'd be fine. And the NASDAQ is right now at 22.5. So, it's over 4 times what I thought was a really good target for me, 5,000. And so, if the market comes down, I don't think the NASDAQ is going to go down to 5,000 again. I think, the stock market is, going to continue to, I don't know if in 30 years it will be worth 4 times as much as it is now, but I do think that over time, we're still going to see a rise in the market.
Over time, for sure, yeah. And it could be 4 times as much, but it might take a long time.
Yeah.
Anything can happen over time. Speaking about today or next week or so, I don't see any engine that can move market higher or even so it will remain the same on that level.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bearish myself. Yes.
Nothing there. Nothing is there. So I would recommend, I have some positions that I just can't sell, unfortunately. I have a couple of 100 shares of NVIDIA, but I have covered calls sold against them. So I have to wait until, I think it was November 7th for them to expire worthless, and then I send myself a bunch of other calls. And I have NVDY, which today actually declared a 12 cents weekly dividend. So let's think about 12 cents. Is it a great number or so? I figured out, okay, 12 cents. If you do a week multiplied by 52, you are talking about $12 and say 12 and a quarter. Okay, the stock cost today 15 something, 15.70.
15.3, yeah.
So in about a year and a quarter, you can recoup all your investment, and it's still there and still keep bringing you more investment. I'm talking about a situation where stock will not move higher or lower, which both are available. If NVIDIA will start moving higher, sooner or later, it will go to 200 and over. It's almost done. Something. So NVDY will follow the suit, and instead of 15 something dollars, it will go to at least $17 a share, maybe even higher, most likely. So as long as it keeps paying, say 12, 11 or something, this is, in my opinion, it's a great return on your money. You're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not buying NVDY in order for its growth as a stock price. You're
No,
buying it because of the dividends that are you can
exactly.
reinvest them, and or you can take them as cash. And this is the return on your investment is what it counts. And
Absolutely, it's a dividends, and it's cool because the money is coming in to your account, which will happen on Friday. Friday is a payday, so Friday we will collect. In my case, it's going to be like $1,800,
You know,
and that's
dividend,
it.
yeah, dividend aristocrats, they're companies that have been paying an increasing dividend for more than 20 years. There are not many of those, but there are funds which are made up of dividend aristocrats entirely. They have not done as well as simply holding SPY, which tracks the American economy as a whole.
yeah,
Dividend
this is a little bit of
aristocrats.
a different animal than the dividend aristocrats, because it's not price sensitive. You're not talking about the price of the stock so much as the rate of return on the investment in that stock, and so it's a little bit of comparing apples to oranges when it comes to NVDY.
Some of the so-called dividend aristocrats, they're paying 4% dividend, 4.5. They're not greatest. Even let's see, I would consider rather a company like Pfizer that pays 7+% dividend rather than all the aristocrats. But even that pales compared to NVDY, which is
Right.
40% dividend. So, but it's a different strategy. It's not for everybody, and you
Oh,
have.
I started doing it because you were talking about it, and I've been pleased with the rate of return that I've been getting on that. And though it's more modest than the other investments that I'm making, it was being flexible enough to adopt a new strategy. When I heard it, I didn't have an argument against it, and so I thought I would try it. And I tend to dip my toe in because if I don't have some money in the game, I don't pay attention. So
Agree. I agree with you. But I'm getting a newsletter from the funds managers every Wednesday when there's a. So it kind of interesting when you're getting dividend. In my case, it's anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 US a week. It's wonderful because you're talking about live cash on your account. So if you want to go on a trip or anywhere, you don't have to sell anything. You just take money from your account. You're taking cash and you don't sell anything. So this is wonderful. So far, it's working. I mean, there are a lot of information on the internet that it's risky. Some others are saying that they're so grateful for this and they're making so much money or so on. Anyway, I decided that for now I will not increase my position. I will not decrease it either.
that's my approach too right now. Yeah.
Okay. So whatever I have, I'm happy to collect the weekly dividends. And,
I dipped my toe in, but I haven't dove in.
yeah, okay. So it's there. It's bringing you a little bit of money
Yeah.
every Friday. So there's nothing wrong with that. Let's have
We
fun.
you will never have the best investment out there. In more than 50 years of investing, I only once had the very best investment out there, but it was only a couple of $100 that I had, so it was no big deal.
Right.
But there will always be better investments, and we don't have to be concerned about that.
And I always operated on the thing, if I was hearing about it, it's too late, because when you hear about something that's done extremely well, then you have to pause and think, well, will it continue to do extremely well?
Yeah,
Or-
buy on rumors, sell on news. Yeah.
Well, today it doesn't necessarily work that way. There are a lot of stocks, even this computers, this so-called quantum computing stocks, for example. It's becoming like meme stocks, almost similar to GameStop. And I was always afraid. I love to short the stocks. I always I can't make myself buying that stocks because there are no fundamentals, there is no earnings, there is no
This is
yield,
why-
there's nothing really to
Yeah.
okay, let's just say the stock calls $20 and on internet you say that stock is going to be $350 in no time or so on.
Yeah.
Okay, even if it was not going to be not 350, even $35, that would be great going from 20 to 35. But
Sure.
based on what?
Yeah, that's it. Because I believe, and from my analysis, quantum computing is going to be very valuable in the future. But its
Yeah.
time is not now. It's not yet. So there's no revenues that you're buying. There's no hope in the near-term future for revenues that the chip makers in the artificial intelligence industry are making right now. They're making staggering amounts of money. And, like NVIDIA, for example, hit my target price and I sold it. And then it split. And I bought it again, and so now it's gone back up to where I had sold it, or not quite. I'm exaggerating, but the point is that you can hit your target price and sell, and if it does come down, then it's a bargain again, and you profit again.
If you missed it and it keeps going higher, don't chase it. Okay, let it go.
Yes, exactly. Don't chase it. Precisely so, Sasha.
You see, with this quantum computing, what appears to me that they have, for example, Reddit and some others, internet rooms and chat talks and so on, and they're sending messages to each other that, oh, how great they have this news and they have that news, and somebody said that the stock will go to 350 and somebody says no, it will go only to 275. I heard it from this and from somebody else, and they're almost like trying to get
generating
to buy the stock. But you see, what's happened is when it reached to some absolutely incredible highs, I think then institutions are moving in and start dumping the stocks left and right, and that's why it's going down. Speaking about, I'm watching today AMD. It appears to me that institutions now dumping the stock.
Yes.
It appears to me that, well, could be wrong, but it appears to me that it's going down all day. It cannot stop at any level whatsoever. It's 228 down, 226 down. It's now breaking 225 down. So where it will stop, nobody knows. But
yeah, it's down over 5% today, but it is up. Oh gosh, what was it? It was up over 45% over the last 3 months. So, this is the kind of thing you expect. You don't expect things to go up straight. AMD had in October, early October, it really jumped. But it was trading in the 170 range, 180 range, in that range for quite some time. And then it just popped. And so now what we're losing now is profit from me. And so I did sell some AMD very recently, and it continued to go up, but I didn't chase it, as you said.
No, you don't. You shouldn't.
And so so I still hold some, and I sold some, and we made money by selling. So this is the kind of thing, and like now my approach is often, if it has this big run up, say I have 200 shares, just pick a number, and it's had an enormous run up like AMD did it earlier. And sell half, and I sell 100.
It's good policy. Or you can space your selling. I don't know if you pay commissions, but in my case, I don't pay any commissions. So I could sell 100 shares at this level, 100 on higher level, another 100 or so. So you don't have to make decision to sell half at what price.
Yeah.
But if you're missing, so by selling 100 at the time, 50 at the time, doesn't matter. You actually make.
And even if the stock goes up, I'm happy because I got my price. And
that's a good policy. Okay, what can I say? Let's get together next Wednesday, same place, same time, and have a good luck in investing or disinvesting.
And we hope we see green on our screen.
Green, let's go for green. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye-bye.